And this is becoming, I realize, for some, too conceptual. Let me make it a little more concrete. I was recently in a meeting with the fairly new executive director of the Community Chest in Korea, a United Way International affiliate, $220 million US a year United Way. Samsung is $22 million in giving to the Community Chest in Korea and outside of Korea. Would make Samsung the 5th or 6th largest financial supporter of United Way in the world, including the US. And we were meeting, talking about, as she was launching a national organization and asking, how do you run a national organization? And we were talking about public policy and services and training and so forth. And when I finally went to, and she didn't seem incredibly interested in that, but when I talked about the growing income gap in the US and the strategies we were trying to create to address it, she said that's exactly the same issue in Korea. We need to work together, strategize together, think about how we would do this together. Norwalk, Connecticut. 15% of all citizens in Norwalk are now Hispanic. A local business leader sees this emerging market, a volunteer for United Way, wants to engage this emerging community, and so starts making sure that there's material in Spanish, that folks are being recruited as volunteers, that services get provided, and working with United Way International, made sure that folks had the opportunity to make contributions to their United Ways in home country. That was presented to that community. New money was raised, almost all of it stayed in Norwalk. More importantly, the connections now between this volunteer leader and United Way leaders in Colombia, in Mexico, other parts of Latin America. I was in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago, I guess, talking to the United Way of Greater Los Angeles staff. The Major Gifts, a young staffer, Major Gifts director, Jeff, and I'd start talking afterwards. And he said, I just recently come out of the Peace Corps. United Way International called me and asked if I would be willing to engage in their Sister City program and work with another United Way around the world. And he said, sure. Which one? And he was told, we're thinking somewhere in India. And he said, well, why India? And then we had the rationale for it. He said, I was just in the Peace Corps in the Ukraine. I speak fluent Russian. What about Russia? We got anything in Russia? Today, he's connected with the United Way of Moscow. Jeff says to me, after this presentation, I love being a part of a global network. I didn't realize United Way was a global network. If we are serious about the war on talent, folks don't have to get assigned overseas, other parts of the world outside the US, but folks want to be a part of a global network. They'll come to that. And finally, there is United Ways in Mumbai, India, Baroda, India, expansion happening, and we have a great donor and volunteer in Barry Griswold. Barry's the CEO of the Principal Financial Group. He's a multi-million-dollar roundtable member. He's made $1 million contribution or more to his local United Way in Des Moines. He's a $1 million donor to United Way of America. On a business trip to India, he was connected with local leadership in India. He came back so compelled by the opportunity, he made a substantial gift to get a staff person on the ground to make sure that we're working between United Ways in the US and United Ways in India, creating a Major Gifts program. You create donor loyalty and connection. Finally, if we leave the relationship management between nations just to government and business, as good as that is, and not think about the voluntary sector and our role in this sector to build relationships, it will fail. Just like in your local communities, you need government, you need business, you need nonprofit and the voluntary sector to make community. We are a global community. We have a network that's there. We have an opportunity to be a part of building relationships across the globe. We have guests with us here today, part of this Sister City exchange focused on major gifts. And I'm going to say to Teresa, if I miss a United Way in this, you have permission to yell at me. United Way Cape Town, South Africa, United Way Colombia, United Way Moscow, United Way, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, United Way, Mumbai, United Way, Baroda, United Way, Hungary. Would you all stand and let us say thank you? And Jamaica. These are our colleagues. Finally, where do we go from here? Here's what I think. As United Way professionals, I encourage you to be a mentor, to be a coach. If you're well into your career, recommit to mentoring folks on your own team, on folks that you meet in this conference. Coaching's a two-way street. Coach and be willing to coach. Learn. If you're early in your United Way career and you're wondering if it's a career, please embrace it. I haven't regretted a minute of these 25 years. This is the best career you could look for, certainly in this sector, I think, period. As community leaders, engage in creating this new social contract. We got to be able to think beyond shelter and start thinking about housing. We got to think beyond 10% more after-school program, kids in after-school programs, and think about education reform. We got to start thinking about financial stability and what the government role is in that. What is our role in that? What is business role in that? We have to innovate. As leaders, take that challenge on. There's so many good reasons to do it from an institutional perspective. Let's do it from a moral perspective. We can't allow to continue to what happens to folks in our communities, what's happening to them. And view yourself as a global citizen. View yourself as part of a global network, as a local organization that is part of something bigger. And as United Way leaders, advance the common good. Not enough folks focused on the common good. For the last 20 years, we've been a part of teaching folks it's about special interest. It's about your favorite agency. It's about your favorite geography. Give where you live. Choose the agency of your choice. We've got to focus on the common good. We don't succeed unless everyone with the least among us succeed. We've got to look for opportunities and create those opportunities that allow hope for a good life for people. And it's all about mission. With all those words, I think it really comes down to a few basic things. All people want in life is a good job, a decent place to live, and some sense of stability. That's all people want. And if we're going to take up this much space, the largest privately supported charity in the U.S., with a network in 46 countries around the world, with our increased institutional success, and hopefully a gained self-confidence, we have the responsibility to lead. We have the responsibility to make sure that the least among us succeed like everybody else. If we do that, we'll be a great organization. And if we do that, we'll create the communities of the future. Thank you for your leadership. God bless you.